What's going on, people? It is Irish Gunner HD here. You can call me Irish. And what you're going to watch today is basically me and, if you remember Tom from a couple of videos that I've done now, me and him got together, I think it was last week, and we talked for about 2 hours or so about the Xbox One, the PlayStation, different games that we liked. And I basically decided, before we went into it, I was like, sure, I might as well record it. Like, I probably won't use it, but I might as well just record it, see what we get out of it. And that was the case. I didn't end up. I'm going to post the whole thing because aside from 2 hours talking and being just way too much to put up, we missed a lot. I felt like even though we talked for 2 hours, we missed a lot about a lot of facts about the Xbox One and stuff like that. And then obviously with Microsoft doing the U-turn, a large portion of it would have been completely redundant. So I decided to cut all that out and basically just turn it into just use the Forza 5 talk. We talked for a half an hour about Forza 5. And that's what. So when you hear me say we've got 20 minutes left, I was aiming for a 2 hour recording. And then when you hear me say that we've been recording for 2 hours now or whatever, that's why I say that. It's not like I'm not crazy. I don't think the half an hour lasted 2 hours. But yeah, again, we could have missed some stuff, but we tried to remember as much as we could. But obviously, talking for 2 hours, your brain is not working exactly right. But yeah, we got as much as we could possible. What you're going to watch is basically I drifted on different tracks with different cars for 5 minutes. So there's a couple of 5-minute clips. And then at the end, there's me drifting in a public lobby. If you drifted with me recently, you might see yourself in there. So yeah, that's about it. Hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it.
Right, Forza 5.
Forza 5, my friend. Let's do this. Shit, I hit the microphone. Sorry, guys. I got excited when he said Forza 5. Alright. Shall we get off with negatives or positives from what we know so far? Get
I'm gonna let you go.
negatives out of the way and then talk about the positives, or positives out of the way and then talk about negatives?
I'm gonna let you go because I'm eating popcorn.
Sweet. Alright, well, we've gone over the hour and 30 minutes mark, so we don't have quite a half an hour to talk about it, so we've got 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So, the thing that springs out of my mind most of all is no night racing / no weather gameplay, or no weather effects still. People were asking this for Forza 3. Like, people were like, oh, Forza 3, you're going to bring back night racing from Forza 1, and they were like, no, the hardware is getting in the way, like, we can't actually do it, like, with all the new stuff that we're putting in terms of better graphics and better physics and all that. We haven't got the hardware capabilities on the Xbox 360 to include night racing or weather effects and stuff like that. Weather effects being obviously rain and snow and...
What I want to know is what their excuse is this time.
They didn't give one, actually.
Which is
so
news.
My sources, for people that are wondering, my sources from all these things is I actually watched a couple of live streams and interviews and stuff like that with Dan Greenwald. Look his name up if you don't believe me. Dan Greenwald is the actual, like, I don't know what his exact title is, but he's like basically the main man at Turn 10 Studios.
Man at Turn 10, that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah, like pretty much if there's something going on with Turn 10, Dan Greenwald comes on and is like, we want to turn gamers into car enthusiasts and car enthusiasts. Like, remember that thing with this whole thing with Forza 4? What was it? We want to turn
what was it? Gamers into racers and racers into gamers.
Yeah, or something like that. And we just heard that to death around Forza 4, didn't we? But yeah, if you can remember that guy, he basically confirmed last night on a live stream that there's no weather effects, no rain, no snow, no wind, no fucking thunderstorms, anything that you might be looking for as far as weather, and there's not going to be any night racing. I personally do not give a fuck. Like, I don't know how else to put it. I don't give a rat's.
Yeah, no, I'll agree there with...
it would be nice, but I don't give a shit if there's no rain and no night.
To be fair, like, in all the time we played Forza 4 and 3 and 2, at no point did we turn around and say, a bit of rain here would be nice.
Yeah, like, it would be cool to just be like, oh, I've built this, like, for people watching, my subscribers watching, you know my S14, you've heard me give my opinions on it. I love my S14, but I love my S14 on a sunny day on a dry track. Do you think I'd love my S14 on a cloudy day or a rainy day on a wet track?
Now, don't get me wrong.
It would be interesting to find out, but at the same time, I don't care because I still love my S14. As long as my fucking S14 is still in the game, I'm happy.
Don't get
As
me
long
wrong.
as they don't cut the car list,
Yeah,
I'm good. Like,
the car lists now, like, this is what I'm hoping for, because, like, when Forza Horizon came out and they pretty much instantly, like, said that they were bringing out Forza Motorsport 5, that was a sigh of relief to me. That was kind of cool, because it kind of meant, cool, maybe Horizon's going to be kind of like a sub kind of, franchise, and they're going to
a
keep
testing
on,
platform kind of thing.
yeah, and they're going to keep out.
Because you'd assume if they can do night racing on Forza Horizon, and let's not get it wrong, anyone that's watching this and has stuck around to this point in the fucking podcast kind of thing, Forza Horizon was a fucking good game. I don't care if you didn't like the physics, I don't care whatever it is, it was a fun game to play, and like driving at night, yeah, if you're such an idiot that you care about 30 FPS versus 60 FPS and all that, it doesn't matter. Like, if like the whole nighttime aspect of it was epic, like, and that was great. But to be able to do that on the now previous gen, they had to cut the car list. And yes, maybe they did some dirty things where they brought back some cars that they could have kept in from Forza 4 and brought them back as DLC and all that. But that's fair enough. But to be able to create the space in the memory and the RAM and stuff like that on the Xbox 360, to make space for that, like, night vision or night
They
vision.
had to make sacrifices, but at the same time, you have to remember, like, I remember in, like, Forza 2, Forza 3, we were always saying, oh, it'd be deadly if we had a car park or something like that just to do a few donuts in or something like that. Basically, what I think Horizon was, you know, just like a kind of, well, here you go, it's not perfect, but there you go, there's a bit of fun, go play that just for a bit of fun.
Exactly.
That was their answer, I think, to just having a bit of fucking fun.
And you know what I honestly think is one of the funnest things that I've ever experienced in a Forza game? Me and you, right, at night, in Hatchies, remember we did that section where it was the big huge entry?
Oh, it was fucking deadly.
In the, I can't remember what it's called now, the fucking, come on, help me with this, Tom.
Was it the one I showing you, or
the top left of the map in the industrial estate?
Carson, was it?
In Carson. Thrown it in, like, and I don't drive in cockpit view, like, for those of you watching, you've probably seen my wheel drift. When you go in cockpit view, and you're with a friend, and you're in a hatchie, and you just throw these big entries in, because you don't have to worry about crashing into the wall, because they're
industrial estate, and it's just,
yeah, like, it just feels real, like, at night time with the hatchie's yellow lights and all that, and the green interior, like, lights and all that. That was so, and again, the word is fun. The word is not realistic. The word is fun.
Bitching.
It was bitching. Like, it wasn't, it was realistic. Anyone that compares Forza Horizon to Need for Speed needs a clatter across the chin, right? Because it just wasn't. It was not arcadey. It was as close to Forza 4 as you can get in terms of realism. There's no other game that I've ever played with my steering wheel. Tom, you might not be able to tell this, and again, no offense. Again, no offense to controller users at all. But I use, even just with the MS wheel, and again, that's like, I'm going to kick myself in the face for only having an MS wheel. But, so I can't imagine the fun that people on Fanatec are going to have. But even just with the MS wheel, that game was insanely fun. Like, there's just no, I can't explain how much fun that game was. I know that the controller initially had problems with the vibration and stuff like that, so if you're used to playing on controller and you only played Forza 4 on controller and stuff, it might have been a bit of a shock to the system to you, like with the there was like a lack of rumble and stuff like that. That's fair enough, you can have your like problems there, but as far as as far as the fun on a wheel goes, it's almost identical. Yes, the cars are slightly easier to control. The physics are a little bit different. But the next person that comes up to me and tells me that that the Forza Horizon physics are like Need for Speed, they're getting a clatter across the ear on a cold day, you know, because it's not even acceptable to compare them.
No, it's bullshit. Like, it is like,
if you want to call it an arcade game, call it an arcade game. But you better call it the best arcade racing game that there's ever been. Because if you don't, you're getting a clatter across the ear on a cold day, and I'm saying nothing else.
Like,
I don't know if you've ever gotten a clatter across the ear on a cold day, but it's not fun.
It's one of them things, right? It's a great fun game. It's a fun fucking game. It wasn't one of these. It was never intended to be.
And that's what a lot of people missed.
To be challenging and fine tuning and all this thing. When you actually look at it in a different perspective, it was fucking awesome. And like, I was only playing it earlier on there a few hours ago, and it's just as much fun as when you first get it. You're dodging traffic, you know, you're in your fucking hatchie or whatever you're in, and you're just dodging traffic and you're having a great old time. Oh, it's just deadly. It's a great fun game, but it's not about Forza Horizon. It's about Forza 5. So like Forza 5, going by what I've seen, looks really fucking awesome. I don't care about the weather, really being honest. I don't give that much of a fuck. It's like Forza 5, and I'm going to say this now, and bring on the hate, but it stomps all over Gran Turismo. Leave it and just don't even try challenging it. That's the way it is. Forza is better, end of story. It's just, I think I was really impressed by it. I think the graphics look absolutely fantastic. Between Forza 4 and 5, there is a difference. Not much of it, not a huge difference, but there is.
In what terms? Graphics?
Huh?
In graphics terms?
Yeah.
No, I'd have to disagree with you. Forza 5, man. Forza 4, don't get me wrong, like, I'm always like, people just think of like the game, but they don't think of the system that's running the game.
Yeah.
If you think what they got out of Forza 4 on an Xbox 360, that shit is insane. Yeah. Like those graphics, like the handle and all that, everything that they got out of Forza 4 on the Xbox 360, it is unbelievable.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, to be fair, but it was.
Look at a paint job glistening in the sun on Forza 5. Have you seen any of them pictures?
That bit where you could see the McLaren P1, right, and it was in the showroom, and you could just see, right, the paint on the orange paintwork, and you could see what looked to be like a window and light coming in through the window, just bouncing back off it, and you could see the ripples in the paint. Yeah,
like the ripples, like just details like that. Now, when you look at a paint job on Forza 4, everything's crisp and smooth and it's perfect and all that. But that's not the way paint jobs are in real life. If you look at a paint job in real life, you're not going to see your exact reflection of your face.
No.
As good as the painter is, you're going to see kind of ripples and there's like little just imperfections in the bodywork. I'm not talking about bumps or scratches or anything like that. I'm talking about just...
Oh, that's where the body...
Like, it's the way the body is made. Like, there's subtle slight bumps here and there like that. In Forza 5, in the screenshots and in the high definition video, I don't know how to say this phrase, high definition videos, like in detail of the paint jobs, like the paintwork in Forza 5, you can see where people would expect in older games that the paintwork wouldn't be even and you wouldn't be able, like, it's not that kind of thing. They are perfect, but they are flawed as they would be in real life. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
It's absolutely insane. And apparently what they're saying is Forza 5, every single car is going to have a Forza Vista thing, which is like, remember Auto Vista from Forza 4? Where you could go in and look around the cars and sit inside it and all that?
This now.
Sorry?
All of them are going to have that now. Oh, that's sweet.
Sorry, just having a smoke here. But that is one thing that will worry me, because the reason that they only gave it to selected cars was because the same reason that Grand Theft Auto 5 only had premium cars. Like, the consoles couldn't handle it. Do you know that kind of way? Like, the only reason that there was premium cars in Grand Theft Auto 5, even though I think it was ridiculous and it wasn't acceptable for the amount of time that they spent developing and making the game. They spent like 8 years making Gran Turismo 5. Even though the only reason that they made specific cars in that game premium is because like they couldn't physically make every single car premium because the console just couldn't handle it. Whereas in Forza 4, they made specific cars, air quotes, premium. In other words, the Forza 4 equivalent of premium was certain cars became not Forza Vista. Forza Vista is what they're calling it in Forza 5. Auto Vista cars. And in Forza 5, they're saying that every car is going to be Forza Vista. And that makes me worried because it's like, well, does that mean that they're cutting the car list?
Yeah,
because
that seems to be Forza's answer to everything.
Yeah, where the Lord give it, the Lord take it away.
Yeah, but it's just...
Where T10 give it, T10 take it away. Because, like, if they're going to give every single car Forza Vista, does that mean... I've noticed a shocking trend in games recently. Not recently, but, like, I've noticed a thing where they're not including S14s as much as they used to.
No, what I've noticed...
They're including the S13 because, like, that's the start of the S-chassis kind of love affair, and they're including the S15 because that's, like, the end of the S-chassis love affair. Like, that's the whole, like, the end of the production. But they're leaving out the S14 because they just think people care about the S13 the S15, whereas they're leaving out the S14. And again, as most subscribers know, I'm an S14 guy. Like, all my love for all cars doesn't matter unless I can channel that love into an S14 because I just love that body, I love that chassis.
Yeah, well, I think they're starting to leave out the S13 a bit more, and if I was honest, I'd like to see a bit of variety, and I'd like to see the S14A or the S14 Kooky. I'd love to see that.
Nope. First of all, it's pronounced Koki, believe it or not.
Whatever, but...
No, this is something that I'll touch on really quickly. It's actually pronounced Koki because whatever way the Japanese language works, U is pronounced O, and I didn't know that. Like, I'm the same as you, I've always called it the Kooky.
Yeah,
and I'm only recently in the last couple of months getting used to calling it the Koki. But that's actually the way it's pronounced. But no, and anyway, like, I'm an S14 guy, not an S14A or Koki. I don't deal with that. I don't accept square headlights on a round car. It makes no sense.
Fucking square.
They're rectangular, whatever way you want to put it. The angled, no, let's not get into an argument. But people love Kokis and S14As. But I've always just thought the square angular lights of an S14A or a Kogi, no, you want Zenki, you want round headlights on a round car, and the S14 is a round, bubbly car. Like,
it's not. The arse of it is square.
It's not.
It is.
It's round.
And it's square. It's not.
It's not.
I
know it's not. You said it's not. I won that argument.
Oh, fuck up. That's what I meant.
No, but anyway, I do worry about the fact that if they're going to make every car, as they're calling it now, Forza Vista, not Auto Vista, if they're going to make it like every car a Forza Vista car, I do worry that they're going to go down the Forza Horizon route and just like put in premium cars where it's like, because the trailer said hundreds of cars, it didn't say over 1,000 cars, and if I'm perfectly honest, I expected after like Forza 4, I can't remember the exact number, but it was like
400.
Was it only 400?
400.
Well, that kind of calms my fears because I thought it was more than that. But so maybe that like hundreds of cars could mean 200 or it could mean 900. Like, you don't know, but
I do believe Forza 3 was 300, and I think Forza 4 was 400. Believe it or not.
Yeah, something along those lines. But when I first heard 100, or when I first read on the first like advertisement thing that they did, I read hundreds of cars and I kind of panicked. I was like, well, they didn't give an exact, well, they never really give an exact number, but like they didn't go like over 900 cars or like over 400 cars.
Yeah.
Like they just said hundreds of cars, and that can be taken any way. So like I do sometimes wonder, does that mean that they're going to get rid of like cars like the S14? If they want to get rid of the Prius or like the Mazda 3 or whatever stupid cars that they have in there, like that don't belong in a racing game, be my guest. Take them away, make more space. Like, but if you're taking away an S14 to put in space for like a Ferrari or something like that, or the new, as we've seen, open wheels. By the way, if you're curious, if you haven't heard, they're putting in open wheel cars, old Ferraris and old McLaren cars,
and the Indy cars. I'm
actually
really excited about the Indy cars. Really excited about the Indies.
I'm not so much because I think we've talked about this before, I'm purely a drifter. Like, I'm literally I very rarely race cars at Forza.
Imagine being in
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna be it's gonna be really fun. Like when I do race cars, it's usually in like the Ferrari. What's the very last Ferrari you buy? Like the Formula One esque Ferrari, where it's like single seater and you're out in the open, like in an open cockpit.
Oh, fuck.
Whatever that one is, again, the name's not even important, but whatever that is, I do have a lot of fun like maxing that out and like rallying the shit out of that car.
Oh yeah, you gotta
So,
love it. Like, I think I said.
So it's not a huge deal to me, but like as a drifter, they're not exactly they never do. They never cater to drifters in these like big press conferences. They don't be like, oh, well, we've got this feature and we're bringing back Indy cars and the racing is so extreme. But look at the new drift options that we have. We've got these new drift tracks and we've got these new drift cars. Like they never ever cater to drifters. Where like I'm sorry, but show your drift cars. For every single season or like iteration of the game, Show Your Drift Cars is the most viewed thread on the forums. Show Your Drift Cars every single year has over between 1.5 million to 2 million views. Like Show Your Drift Cars gets the most views out of every single thread on the forums, and like drifters have to take up at least a quarter, in my opinion. Even if they're not active on the forums, even if they're just random points lobby, public lobby, points drifters and all that, there has to be at least a quarter of the fan base of the game is drifters. So they have to compensate like for that in some way. The closest thing that I've seen is Falcon Tires put out a tweet that was retweeted by Forza Motorsport Twitter account where they said, check out Justin Pollock's Ford Mustang, Falcon Ford Mustang, outside the Forza 5 reveal, but there was nothing more than that. There wasn't like, oh, it's going to be featured in Forza 5 or anything like that. There's just no love for drifters in that game at all, which I find strange considering the amount of people that play that game purely for drifting, like myself.
You remember in Forza 4 they kind of brought out the benchmark tracks, or whatever you call them. I think it was benchmark tracks.
No, benchmark was in Forza 3.
No, what was it then? It was like layout A, B, C, D.
Yeah, that's benchmark. Benchmark layout A, that was completely open. That came out in Forza 3. Layout A was the big open, or like benchmark was the big open thing with the
like the Gymkhana thing.
Yeah, Gymkhana and the.
Right.
What?
It wasn't Forza 3.
It was, yeah.
You're kidding me.
No, seriously, it was I think it was initially like if you pre-ordered the game or if you got the game early or something like that, you got it. And then if you got the game when it came out or something like that, you got it. And then later, people that came into the game later had to like download it or something like that. Yeah, no, but benchmark was definitely a Forza 3 thing.
Alright, well that makes me look like a retard.
But yeah, that was definitely a cool thing, and that was definitely a nod to drifters, but it wasn't even because Gymkhana is an all-wheel drive thing. Yeah, it was cool to have an open, like just an open area to drift in and stuff like that, but like it wasn't like they didn't put in a Bisu or Maihan or Boku or Baihaku or anything like that.
Which wouldn't be all that hard, they're not big tracks. It's not
the difficulty, it's licensing and money and stuff like that. Like, even though like
they can afford Suzuka.
I know, that's what I'm saying, like, but it's like down to like Baihaku and Maihan and Ibisu and all that. It's down to the owners if they actually want the track to be in game and how much they demand. Because it's like, yeah, Suzuka might have gone, oh, well, we're a world famous racetrack, we don't need that much money, we'll charge you $1 million.
Of course they're gonna try to get the amount of money they can get.
Whereas like Ibisu or something like that is like, well, we're a small struggling track, we're gonna try and milk the fuck out of this big American company over here trying to come in and take our shit, like, so Ibisu might have charged like $10 million to license their track or something like that, whereas like,
but which would you rather support?
But it's not me, it's Microsoft. Do you really think Microsoft are gonna go, oh yeah, we'll pay that $10 million so a quarter of our community can play on it? They're not, like, that doesn't make monetary sense.
They haven't shown all of this, but that doesn't mean to say that they won't do it. But then again,
like, why did they put Motegi in? Don't get me wrong, like, I'm not, like, I don't hate Motegi, and I've had fun on Motegi before, but it's just like, who really likes Motegi? Or like Road America? And again, I'm probably just as an Irishman, I'm being ignorant. As an Irishman, I'm probably just being ignorant, but like, how often do you come across Road America? Like, yeah, it's fun and certain sections of it are cool and stuff like that, but like, I would easily swap out Motegi and Road America for Moyhan and Ibiza. Me.
Oh yeah.
But we're over 2 hours now, so I think we should wrap it up because I realise we've missed a whole lot and there's a lot to talk about. Oh, windscreens. We have windscreens, Tom. We have finally got windshields.
What do you mean?
Do you know when you're in a car in Forza 4 and like there's no windscreen whatsoever? You're just looking straight out in front of you. There's nothing there. Or windows.
Towards your point.
Well, in Forza 5, we actually have reflections now on the windscreen. You can see like your dashboard reflecting when the sun hits off and stuff like that. It's not quite at like Need for Speed Shift 2's level where it was actually you could see the entire windscreen. Like you'll realise there was a windshield there. Like it's not that level, but you can see now. Like as you're going along, you can see that there's actually like reflections on the windscreen. So like it's kind of
that's pretty cool.
And there's also a whole lot of tire smoke as well.
Seeing the tire smoke, that's pretty awesome. What else is there? There's not much more they can fucking improve on.
Yeah, because it's a fairly solid game. Like, maybe improve the handling or something like that, but even at that, like, the Forza 4 handling... Then again, we thought we had it all with Forza 3. We thought the handling was as good as it could be with Forza 3. Have you gone back and played Forza 3 at all, Tom?
It's like playing on ice.
Yeah, like, it's actually insanely different. Like, we thought when you were a good drifter on Forza 3, you were not even remotely good.
Oh,
because once you get the hang of it, like once you've played Forza 4 for any amount of time, when you go back to Forza 3, it's like it takes you 5 minutes to get back used to it. You know what I'm talking about? Like get back into the Forza 3 handling, and as soon as you do, it's just like, oh, this is piss. I cannot believe I actually used to think this was difficult.
Even more crack going back to Forza 2.
I don't have Forza 2. I wasn't a Forza 2 guy. I joined in Forza 3.
Joined the Forza 2, and that was fun. But just going back to it is just like,
I imagine. Right, so is there anything we missed? I'm trying to think.
There is. There's loads we fucking missed.
The Prague section doesn't look that impressive. It looks like something that's fun. It looks like, do you remember the track that they did Forza 3 or Forza 4 on, whatever that's called? The Alps or something like that? With the bridge section? Like just before you come across the finish line. Remember the Forza 4 demo?
Yeah. What was the stupid fucking name?
Whatever it was, it was shit. It wasn't any good for drifters at all. So I imagine that was what Prague's going to be.
Two pretty sweet. There was one pretty sweet kind of a chicane thing, but that was it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So
yeah, no, it's probably going to be crap.
That particular track's not going to be great for drifters.
They should bring some. I don't know. They always have to brought in like something like create your own layout.
Oh, he's touched on, Dan Greenwald again touched on customization and hardware options. So apparently from what he said, when he was asked about the hardware options as far as wheels and stuff goes, the obvious question is, does that mean that like your Fanatec or your MS wheel that you have now, does that mean that your Fanatec wheel or your MS wheel that you have now, or sorry, for those of you that have random brands, I don't mean to cut you out, just for example, Fanatec or MS wheel that you have now, does that mean, or will they work on the Xbox One? And he completely ignored the question. He just went, well, Thrustmaster are working on this wheel, and so a brand is working on this wheel, so let's see how that goes. He completely ignored the question, so I think we can safely assume, if, like me, you own a Microsoft wheel from this generation, it's not going to work on the next generation. And if you own a Fanatec wheel, for now, you can assume that it's not going to work on the next generation. That said, Fanatec's have built-in software. So I imagine that if you plug your Fanatec into your PC and apply a firmware update, it will probably eventually work on it. But I think they just want to sell more of the new wheels, so they probably won't make them work on it.
Yeah. No, to be honest, like I never used a wheel because I could never afford one. But being honest, I never actually had the space or the area to mount.
Dude, I sit on the end of my bed with my pedals and my wheel on my lap.
Yeah, I couldn't do it with a wheel on my lap. It just annoyed me because it'd be moving and
No, it doesn't. You'd be highly, again, that's something, I'll probably make a video about this at some stage in the future, like just have someone hold the camera while I play. It does not move an inch. As long as you put it on your lap, it does not move. Tom, all the years that we've played on Xbox, I've used the wheel sitting on my lap.
I'd reckon it'd have to mount it in front of me. It'd have to be as if I'm in a car, because I'm used to being in a car. It wouldn't.
Yeah, that's probably true. I've always thought vice versa. I've always thought, well, I'm so used to kind of holding my hands close to my stomach because the wheel is kind of right there.
It would
like, whereas if I'm in an actual car, like, and obviously I've driven cars before, like I know it's different. But like, if you were to sit me down and play Forza for an hour and then take me out into a car and go, okay, drive the car now, I'd be like, whoa, it's kind of different.
Yeah, no, see, I'd have to have it as if I'm in my car, in my surroundings, the way I'd have it. That's why I haven't bought a wheel, because I'd have to mount it that way, and it's not fucking worth it. If I was going to buy a wheel, I actually wouldn't buy, I would buy one of the, I would either buy or make a proper fucking bucket seat setup with speakers, with a wheel in front of me and a gear stick, and yeah, fucking awesome. That's
make it worth it.
Yeah, I go all out on it. I wouldn't bother. But that just costs money.
Indeed. Alright, well there you go, folks. Speaking of costing money, Xbox One, PS4, they're going to cost some money. It's up to you to choose your own. We've waffled on now for nearly 2 hours and 10 minutes. I hope you enjoyed the whole thing. I hope you stuck around for it. I hope, I realised we missed a lot. I didn't want to cover Battlefield 4 in detail, because I know Tom doesn't know too much about that. No. And I want to make my own video about that, like covering my own thoughts about that. But we covered Forza 5 a lot. We're almost certain this wasn't planned or anything like that. I'm almost certain that we've missed it quite a bit, but we've touched on the big things, I think. So,
if not, we'll just make another one another day.
Yeah, again, if there's anything else that comes out and like any more big information comes out, we'll do another one of these. Hope you stuck through the whole 2 hours and nearly 10 minutes of it. Apologise for it being so long. I wanted to keep it down under 2 hours, but you know how these kind of things goes. When you're talking to friends, you tend to just ramble on. So, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do leave a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new here. Thanks for watching the video. Tom, would you like to say goodbye?
No.
Fuck you, Tom. And
fuck you too, Brian.
And fuck you too, Tom. Goodbye.
Bye bye.